Have you ever known deep down that the person you're with is just not good for you and will never be good for you, but you're deeply in love? Actually, you're deeply in lust with the idea of them, and your built up fantasies of what could be if you stay with them. And the thought of leaving them or being dumped by them is just unthinkable. It literally kills you to the core. Well, I have been there before. Maybe more than once. But today I will be sharing what I wish I knew to help me heal faster from that heartbreak. Or should I say, detaching my heart from someone who was just never going to be good for me. Yes, so this video is going to be in 3 parts. The first part is going to be my story. The second part, I'm going to be sharing the science behind why breakups or heartbreaks are so painful. So how the body is working and tricking you to feel so much pain. I'm going to explain it so you understand what it is you're feeling. And then in the third part, I'll just be giving you some practical tips on how to heal faster or move on faster from your current predicament. So if you are excited, then please continue to stay tuned, and obviously like this video if you do enjoy it, and share it with someone else that also needs to get through a breakup or just needs to hear this advice. So basically, I had been dating this guy for close to about, I'd say, 1 year, and it was a long distance relationship. We practically spoke like every single day, and I used to buy so much credit onto my phone just to hear his voice. Back in those days, you didn't have the whole unlimited minutes and all of that, and even if you did, we didn't even have WhatsApp. We had to do like Skype or call directly, so my minutes were running very quickly. But in my head, I thought it was worth it because I was so in love or in lust with this person. The idea of them. I even remember setting alarms in the middle of the night. Okay, I know. I used to set alarms in the middle of the night to wake up just to speak to him because of the time difference. And oh, girls, I remember, this is off topic, but I remember I used to sleep early, wake up around 2 or 3 to have a conversation with them, with him. And he would literally come on the phone for a couple of minutes and be like, oh, so tired, I'm gonna go to bed. And I'm thinking to myself, I was tired, but I'm here talking to you. Anyway, and I remember sometimes at nighttime I'd wake up and if he wanted to see my face, which was quite regularly, I was so insecure, I would literally put lip gloss on, put a bit of powder on my face because I didn't wake up like this, you know. Oh my God. Thinking back, like looking back, what a sad little girl I was. But things have changed, obviously. But because I'm going back and I want to be as open and honest as possible, because I've been there before, there's no point sugarcoating it. I'm letting you know where I was and where I am now, and to encourage someone that it does get better. But anyway, back to the story. I literally ignored all of the red flags. Frankly, I only saw green flags. So it was like, go, go, go. Because I was literally infatuated with the idea that I had built up in my head of this person. So I would excuse all of the red flags or the mishaps or the behavior that wasn't good enough. I wouldn't really say much because I was quite codependent, you know. I was people pleasing. I was trying to please him and keep him there just so that he wouldn't move on from me. So looking back now, I know that he didn't know the real me because I was too scared or too insecure to even show the real me. I was just the idea or the person that he wanted. That's what I was for him. Okay, I hope that's making a lot of sense. So I wanted to give you that background before I go into the next bit, because the drama is about to get real. So we'd built this online fantasy, online chemistry, online connection, and finally it was time to, you know, meet each other for the first time as a couple. And I remember when I met him, it was a Friday. I didn't really feel any butterflies in my tummy when I saw him, but you know, I kind of like brushed it under the carpet because I was like, he fine. So, you know, I gave him a hug, and he had made some reservations at a restaurant, so we ended up going there, had a lovely meal, you know, we were talking and everything. And I remember in the car when he was driving, he had his hand on the joystick, no, the gearbox, I think that's what it's called. And I put my hand on it as well, and you know, trying to see if I can feel some electricity. Oh god. Anyway, yeah, and it was just nice. It was nice and intimate, so I felt like, okay, I'm starting to feel something here. Anyway, that was a Friday, and the following day was our Sabbath. So he came to pick me from my friend's house, my best friend's house, because that's where I was staying, and we ended up going to church together. And the day before, so the day I arrived, later on there was a bit of a mini earthquake, so parts of the state had a power cut. So when we went to this church, I needed to go and use the ladies. Anyway, another backstory. His nemesis was actually at his church that Sabbath. His nemesis, I say, because he told me that he was literally obsessed with this girl years ago, but she never really gave him any time. But all of a sudden, this nemesis lady, woman, has decided to relocate from her state to his state. And I remember when I was here, so before meeting him, he mentioned that they were gonna go on a date. Again, I didn't think much of it, because if I'm with you, I give you all my trust. If you haven't given me anything to doubt you about, I give you my full trust. And once that trust is gone, I'm no longer in that relationship, because I'm not the type of person to be checking your phone and all of that. So I was like, forget it. Anyway, so she appeared at the church, and from reliable sources, I had heard that she was talking about me and all sorts. So anyway, when I came to the church, I knew that she'd be there. So I was just like, well, she's not my friend, so I'm just gonna be myself. I needed to go and use the ladies, and then all of a sudden this woman invites herself into the conversation, like, oh, I'll show you where it is. And I was thinking to myself, oh, okay. So she ends up walking me to the toilet, and she was like, oh, that door's broken, let me stand behind it whilst you use the toilet. And I was thinking to myself, why is she being overly friendly? This is a bit weird to me, but I was like, okay, whatever. So she stood there, you know, I did my business, washed my hands, and came back to church. At that point, you know, we enjoyed church service, and then in the afternoon, we normally have like lunch. So we were having lunch, but I couldn't find him. I couldn't find him, and I had some other friends in the church, so I ended up having to chill with them. So I was just chilling with them, eating and whatnot, and then I look across and I see him in a group of people, including this nemesis. And I was thinking to myself, okay. And then I tried to, you know, keep myself occupied with the people that I knew. And then all of a sudden he moved from that place to the group where I was at. And I remember we were all talking, and we had some British people there as well. And I think he said something, he asked a question, and I was gonna say something. It was like, oh, no. Yeah, what did you say? And trying to listen to some other person that was not speaking, but trying to get their attention. And I was thinking to myself, what's going on? And then later down the line, I saw him talking to this church auntie for hours. They looked like they were in a really deep conversation. I didn't think much of it. Again, I was jet lagged. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna go and sit in the sanctuary. When he's ready, I can go home because I'm just like too tired. Fast forward, anyway, we got ready to go home, and I remember when we're in the car, women, you need to listen to your gut. I could feel in my gut that something was wrong. So what I did was I tried to put my hand on his hand whilst he had, you know, his hand was on the joystick. That's what we're gonna call it. And he kind of was like, I was thinking, okay, let me take my hand away. And then it was just an awkward ride home. You know, he dropped me off, gave me a kiss, which I thought was a bit weird because I was like, anyway, gave me a kiss. I enjoyed it. I went home. So I was confused. I was like, okay, what just happened? Brushed it off. The next day we were meant to meet up because there was like a church event. He decided to cancel. I was like, okay, that's fine. I'll go and enjoy without you, and then hopefully we can meet up during the week as we had planned. So literally the whole Sunday, he didn't message me to check in or anything like that. So I thought, okay. Later on in the day, I texted him and I was like, hey, is everything okay? I hadn't heard from you. Just checking in on you. And he was just giving me one-liners. Anyway, later that night, literally, he dumped me by text. He sent some sorry message, not as in he was sorry, as in a sorry low life message to my phone, saying, oh, I don't think it's working, it's not you, it's me, you know, the usual. He sent that text to me, and I remember at that point when I looked at my phone, it literally went through me like that. But then I was in denial. I was like, maybe this is a dream. I'm just gonna sleep on it, and in the morning I'm sure I'll be fine. But the thing with heartbreaks is you can't necessarily sleep. My brain was just regurgitating everything that happened, all the events that had happened leading to that text message. But then I couldn't cry because I would wake my best friend up. So I remember creeping downstairs to send him a text message back and saying, is this April Fool's? Like, what are you talking about? Only for him to be like, yeah, I really mean it. There's no feelings there. I'm sure you didn't feel the feelings either. So let's just call it a day. I need to focus on my life. I need to sort my life out. Blah. He was giving all these excuses, and my brain was foggy, and I was angry. I was feeling a rush of emotions: anger, frustration, embarrassment, shame, a lot of emotions. And I even tried to call him, he didn't bother picking up the call, and I literally sat there in the dark and cried myself not to sleep because it wasn't my house. If I slept in the sofa, my best friend's parents will come downstairs and see me there, and then they will know what's going on. So I cried as much as I could, washed my face, and went to go and sleep again. The next day I didn't tell my best friend. I didn't tell her anything till I think a couple of days later, when it had sunk in that actually I'm dumped. This person I had all these fantasies or all these future plans with, they were just out of my life just like that. The cord had been cut just like that. So yeah, I told my best friend, and she was just ready to do a drive-by. Oh goodness. Yeah. Anyway, so I told her it's fine, just support me as much as you can whilst I figure this out. And then it was the next week, the following week. So literally I've been dumped on Sunday. The following Sabbath, when we went to church, there was another program there. So I went there with my best friend this time. When you're going through a breakup or something like that, always surround yourself with people that love you and want the best for you. I can't stress this enough. I'll go into more detail in the tips shortly. But yeah, we went to this event and I specifically stressed to my best friend that she should not leave me by myself. I stressed this because I knew he would be there and she would be there. Okay, this was probably the only time in my friendship with her that I actually switched on her. I'm coming, this is where the drama starts. So in the afternoon, I think I was just by myself in one of the where the program was taking place. I was just sat there and I was thinking, where's my best friend? Like, where is she at? But again, I can't panic. Internally, I was panicking, but externally, I had to keep my calm because I'm fine, right? I'm strong, you know, I'm independent, whatever. So I was literally sat there and I was thinking to myself, where is this girl? I don't know what to do. I don't know this new place. Where are you? And I think just when I was about to get up, someone that I know, again, I know quite a lot of people there, came to sit next to me. And then she was just sat next to me, like, oh my God, Jemima, how are you? And I was like, oh, hey girl, I'm fine, blah, blah, blah. You know, we had a chat. And then this is where shit hit the fan. Because the nemesis girl decides to join the conversation. What is she doing in this conversation? Because obviously it's her mutual friend that I'm talking to. So she literally walks and stops. She stops there to have a conversation with this friend of ours, mutual friend. It's like, oh, hey girl, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. So they're talking and I'm sat here and literally internally, I'm like, oh, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. And then I hear far away, she's like, oh, you're Jemima, right? And in my head, I'm thinking,
is she talking to me? Is she actually talking to me? She doesn't even know me. Why is she talking to me?
But then I was like, huh? Are you talking to me? And she's like, yeah, you're Jemima, right? And I was like, yeah. Yeah, how are you? How's your stay here? And I was thinking to myself,
actually, my stay here has been tarnished by your whole existence. How about that?
But I was like, no, I gotta be proper. So I was like,
yeah, my stay has been quite lovely so far.
And you know, the British in me came out because we're always talking about the weather. So I was like,
yeah, the weather's really nice here compared to the UK when it's always raining.
As if this woman would leave me alone. She did not leave me alone. And she's like, oh my God, that's amazing. And I was like, ugh, whatever. Like in my head, I was like, whatever. You already know you shouldn't be talking to me. But you know, I kept my cool. And then she starts to talk with her friend. And her friend was like, oh my God, girl, you're such a diva. And she was like, maybe I am. And I was like, get me out of here. Is this a movie? And then this friend of ours was like, so are you coming camp this year? Like, oh my God. And she was like, well, you know, I'm not gonna come to youth camp this year because like these little boys be coming up to me like, girl, can I have your number? And I'm like, boy, do you know me? Do you know me? At that point, I knew these two people were crazy. So I excused myself and I went to go and find my friend. And I literally searched everywhere. And then I went into the sanctuary and she was sat there and I was like,
oh, yo, fushbag.
I know you're watching this, so you know that moment. Yeah, basically, Oya Fush is you are beep, beep, beep. Anyway, you know, after the fact, you know, he had moved on and was with this girl literally a day after we'd broken up. But I had to make a decision for myself that, look, accept this for what it is and try to pick up the pieces. So I did it the hard way. So I remember I picked up the pieces. I was going well for like 6 months strong. And then there was a whole setback again because family got involved and they tried to suck me back in. But the thing you need to understand is, when you're a good person, they want you for their family. They want you in the family, not because you're a good person, but because they want a good person for their family, so for their son. That's how I had to interpret it in order to move on. So it wasn't about me that they admired me or they were looking out for me, but they, in actual fact, they were looking out for their own. Okay, but again, that set me back for I think a whole year. It took me a whole time to really move on. That story, I will go into more detail about that another time because it's very deep. This video will be too long. Anyway, so to the main bulk of the video, the science behind a breakup. So when it comes to the science of a broken heart, if you haven't seen my casual sex video, I talk about 2 happy hormones. We've got oxytocin, which is the love hormone, and we've got dopamine. Those hormones are obviously ignited because human beings, we love to love. So these hormones are literally raging in us when we are engaged with this certain person that we're in a relationship with. Okay, so stay with me. So when all of a sudden this person that we love decides to leave us behind, decides to dump us, or we need to make that decision to leave them, all of a sudden our hormones start to take a bit of a dive. So the happy hormones is like, what is going on? And then that's when our body releases the hormone, the stress hormone, which is called cortisol. Yes. So basically this hormone, cortisol, the stress hormone, when it releases in small doses, and it's quite heroic because what it does is basically it ensures that the body reacts as quick as possible to threat. That's what the stress hormone does. However, when you're going through a breakup, it's pretty much a long-term stress. So the body is in a shock for a long period of time. The stress hormones accumulate. So basically, too much of cortisol in the brain, it will send blood to all the major the muscle groups, and they tense up, ready to fight the threat. So this person you've dumped or whatever is ready to punch them. Fight or flight, that's what's happening here. However, because you don't really need to respond to the broken heart physically, you've got all this stress in your chest waiting to like get out and do something, and that's what causes us to like have a stiff neck. You know, your whole body just tenses up. You've got a migraine all of a sudden, and you feel like someone's like squeezing your chest. Is because the stress hormones have literally accumulated, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. Okay, are you still with me? As if that wasn't enough, to ensure that your muscles have enough blood supply, it literally diverts all the blood away from your tummy. Okay, and what does that mean? You start to get cramps, diarrhea, and stuff like that. I'm sure we've all been there before. And you lose your appetite. And if there's like a slow release of the cortisol, so the stress hormones, you start to lose sleep as well. And then that's when you struggle to make like sound judgments because you're operating from lack. Like your body's in so much shock, you're not able to sleep because your muscles and the hormones are raging and all of that. And now you can't even make like sound judgment. And then if that wasn't enough, breakups and stress hormones also activate the part in your brain that processes cravings and addictions. So you go into this withdrawal. Okay, actually, when I did my research, a breakup is very much associated or very similar to losing someone in your life, and it is in comparison to an addiction. Okay, so you're losing someone, so you're having to grieve from that person, and on the other side is also like an addiction, like you were addicted to this person. So all of a sudden, if that cord has been cut, so if any of you have had an addiction, we all have, see how hard it is to just sever that cord, to go cold turkey on that addiction. You go into withdrawal when you want to just have a taste of that cake, just a piece of that pie, or watch that site that you shouldn't be watching, and all sorts of addiction. That's how love is. That's why when someone dumps you and you go into that shock, you might want to send them a message here and there. It might make you look embarrassed, but you kind of want to feed back into that addiction. Okay, so basically, all in all, when you're in a relationship, your body has had time to, adjust the hormones, to pick up all the good hormones and all that, and it's literally associated the love with this person you're with. So the hormones, the happy hormones, is associated with this partner that you're in love with. So the minute that they are out of the picture, you need to allow your body to readjust to learning new attachment styles. So attaching that love hormone to something else. Okay, the pain is relentless because of everything that's happening in you, the body chemistry. That's why it's just so difficult. As I've just explained, that dopamine and that love hormone that is missing in your body, you need to redirect it to yourself, at least for the time being, until you can share that love with someone else, because you are the only person that can always be there for yourself. So why not redirect it to yourself? So whilst the body is raging, you will have to sit with that pain whilst your body readjusts and relearns new attachment styles. The pain that you're feeling is mainly from the stress hormone. It will subside. So stay tuned for the tips that I have for you coming now. Actually, disclaimer, healing is a process. It's a journey, and you need to get into your mind that at every stage there is something for you to learn. So these tips are not necessarily for you to bypass that transition or that journey, but it's to shift your mindset so that your heart can accept this reality, or this decision that you really need to make for yourself, so that you can actually move on to something bigger and better. Okay, that's the disclaimer. So on to the tips. Number 3, step outside of your story. When I say step outside of your story, imagine your best friend came to you for advice, and the story that they told about the relationship that they're in was the one that you're in right now. What advice would you have given your best friend? Would you tell them to stay? Would you tell them to ignore those red flags? Step outside of your story and think deep down, fundamentally, what advice would you give your best friend if they were in your shoes? The trick in doing this is sometimes when we're in something, we tend to glamorize the whole thing. We try to put a halo around our situation, so we don't really see it for what it is, because our judgment is very clouded. Because I've seen so many people, so many intelligent people, smart, funny, amazing people, in relationships with people who are just not good for them, like horrific and toxic relationships, all because they may show them a good time today. They have so much hope in the good and hope that someday the good will outweigh all the red flags that they're seeing. So they hold on because of that little hope that they have. Talk about that relationship, that story that you've told yourself. Start talking about it with your friends. It will give you a fresh perspective, and they will also be able to give you a fresh perspective as well. And then you can start retelling a better story in your head, and you can start accepting things for what they really are, instead of this embellished version that you have in your head. So sometimes when you step outside of your story, you can see something for what it is, and then you can make that informed decision that, do you know what, this is not good for me. When you need to move on from someone like this, feeling that initial pain that you will feel, feeling that pain doesn't necessarily mean that you made the wrong decision. Feeling pain doesn't mean that you need to run back to them. Feeling pain is okay. It's okay to feel that pain. And even feeling that pain means that you're human. It means that you have work to do. It means that you actually did love them. When someone doesn't feel pain, or they're just numb to the pain, that is dangerous, because they're pretty much dead inside to all of that, because some people can really have this tough exterior, like, oh, I can't let anyone hurt me, so I feel nothing, even though they dump me. On you go, but they're dead inside because they just don't want to feel that pain. You don't want to be that person. Feel that pain, bring it all out, bring all that pain out. Sit with the pain that you're feeling after that dumping, or as in you being dumped or you being the dumper. Sit with that pain, okay? And the second tip I would say is shift your whole mindset. Okay, a negative mindset will affect everything. So instead of thinking from a lack mentality, think from an abundance mentality. Rather than thinking, I would never meet anyone like that, look at my age, we had a great thing, how the hell is someone going to be able to live up to that standard? But literally having that type of mindset is going to hold you back, because you're already drawing from a negative place. So how are you going to be able to attract a high value person? So when you're limiting that when you're limiting yourself in that respect, you will not be able to attract someone who will be high value for you. So definitely do not surround yourself with people who also have a limited mindset. So people who have been burnt in the past, they also have a limited mindset on what is achievable and possible when it comes to love. So they will limit your hopes as well. It's okay to have faith. Focus on getting to know yourself again. As I discussed in the science part, when you're in a relationship with someone, you tend to lose a bit of yourself for that person, because you're trying to make that relationship work. You know, you compromise on certain things. This is your time to unlearn certain things, maybe go back to yourself, go back to who you were or who you want to be, invest in yourself, do that traveling that you want to do, pick up that new hobby that you want to start. Just do something that will pour back into you, because a high value partner is going to be attracted to those things. So if you don't take care of yourself, they will not be attracted to you. So you won't necessarily get a good person in the future. So it's all about unlearning those things and bringing new concepts into your life. I hope that point is clear. And the last but not the least point is, keep your next move to yourself, off of social media. Keep your next move off social media, okay? If you're prone to retweet, share all these sad memes or subliminal messages about he ain't shit if he do X, Y, and Z, you need to stop it. Because, hear me out, things that dig into people's characters, like you're trying to say something to dig at them, so you share it on your story or a tweet or whatever. Stop all of that, because most definitely they're probably lurking on your channel or on your page or on your account. So make sure that you're not sending these messages online or anything of the sort. And I had to say this. This point also goes along with the no contact rule, as well as the cold turkey rule, okay? Block them. Actually, this woman says it better.
Block on Facebook, block on WhatsApp, block telefonet, block Instagram.
Tell them.
Block.
Yes, listen to her. Block them off everywhere, because you need that clear head. You need that clear head. You can't do it and talk to them at the same time. Anyway, so back to the point. Keep your next move to yourself or to people who love you. So in your inner circle, keep it to yourself. Because next minute, they are reading into these subliminal messages that you're retweeting or sending. Next minute, they are sliding into your DMs with a WYD, aka what you doing, you know? And then what you doing turns into I'm doing this, and then a back and forth text message, or even worse, they ghost you again. So they leave the message on read and then you don't hear from them again. And this reignites all the frustration, all the hurt and embarrassment, everything like that. So all the work that you have done, it becomes undone again, and then you're starting from scratch. whenever you feel like you need to message them, start journaling. Journaling really, really helps. It's like writing a letter to yourself or to your ex, but not really sending it to them. Write it all out so that all that stress hormone, everything that is igniting in you, you can start putting it on a paper and not embarrassing yourself by messaging them. Okay? Respect yourself. So you need to choose the pain that you want. Either way, you will feel pain in this life. Would you rather the short-term pain right now for long-term gain, or the fear of the unknown and the fear of loneliness or whatever it is that you have in your mind? Would you rather have that hold you back now and then go through the drip love that you're getting for an even bigger pain down the line because you didn't address certain issues? It's your choice. But I would say step outside of your story for 1 second. Step outside of your situation for 1 second. Feel that pain that you need to feel for 1 second, and then move on to a bigger and better you so that you can attract that bigger and better person. All right, thank you so much for listening, and until next time, take care and God bless. Bye bye.